We're now going to move on to the eye blink, and I want to use the geometry of the eyes to factor in on how I'm doing my blinks. So I'm going to hide the original geometry, and I'm going to zero out my translates on here, just so it's right on top of itself. Okay? I could also duplicate the eyes and bring them over, but this is a better method. And I can always move it out later. Okay, so now I'm going to create a new shape. I'm just going to say add target. I'm going to say blinks. Okay. Cool. So we're there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start blinking. But the problem we have here, if I go and grab and let's say I make my brush bigger, you'll see how I'm affecting the lower lid. Now, how the lid's supposed to work here is it's going to drop down, but the lower lid doesn't actually come up to reach the lower lid. When you blink, it's all your upper lid. It's just your muscle reacting up here. When your lower lid reacts, it's when you're squinting and things like that. So just normal blinks, you don't see that type of stuff on there. So we have a problem here. Now, in ZBrush, you have your transpose geometry tool, which will actually not factor into that. That doesn't exist in Mudbox. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's some proximity with the size of the brush, but it's definitely not nearly as good as it is in ZBrush. So that being said, how do I prevent this? Now you can do masking in this. It's a little different. It's called freeze. And we got our freeze tool here. And I click my freeze tool, and I'm going to make my brush smaller. Hold down B. And I'm literally going to freeze underneath here. Now you're going to see two types of kind of freezing in here. You're going to see freeze and you're going to see mask. And the difference is that mask works on all of them, where freeze should just work on this one shape. That's how it works in Mudbox. So main thing is I use mainly freeze anyway. I don't use mask very often. So I'm just going to mask that out on there. Now if I want to take away freeze on here, I can hold down Control, and that'll erase it. I am using the mouse here. I had Control down. I don't know what it's doing on here. Okay, there we go. Then I'm going to freeze that again. Okay, I'm also going to freeze the upper lid too. Sorry, the brow. Because when you drop your lid, your ocular lid ridge doesn't change. Okay, so I'm going to grab, make my brush bigger. Now there are glitches in Mudbox when you're actually moving your stuff around here. So if you do have issues with the freezing with the symmetry, you might have to turn symmetry off and do them individually. But we will in the future cover a method calling flipping, which will actually be able to flip your geometry to the other side too. So, okay, I'm going to use my Wacom tablet again. And I'm going to pull down. Now what we want to do is we want to pull it down so the topology looks like it's stretching. Because we want a nice even topology coming down. Okay, so right now we're actually intersecting with the eye. So we're going to have to be a little more careful with that. But I'm going to adjust on there. It looks like this guy got moved in here. Is that on there like that? Yep, that guy got moved. So let's see if I can erase that. I think I'm going to have to unfreeze that to bring that back. Oh, nope, looks like we do have a little topology. It's like not completely frozen. Okay, so I'm just going to erase that a little bit going up there, go back into grab. Now I'm going to bring these guys up a little bit, and I'm moving in the direction that I want the eyelid to work with. Eventually I'm going to get to a really fine tooth, a small brush on here to do this. I'm definitely going to erase this, so let's do erase on this. Okay. Oops, that's too much. I'm going to undo that. So that's working really good. I am going to move that geometry up instead. I'm going to grab. I'm going to make the brush really small. Okay. The good thing here is that if you make a mistake in any of these blend shapes, you can always fix them after the fact. You can always erase them and do them again. Okay, so that doesn't look too bad. And if I was being picky, I could probably smooth that out. Now, it should be a grab. I'm using the mouse right now. Okay. So that looks good right there. Okay. And so when we want to check out the freeze tool and we look at the settings here, you'll see in here we have our unfreeze, our invert freeze, like that. And then we have our unfreeze on here too. I'm sure there's hotkeys inside of Maya to do this. In Mudbox, they're actually really easy to jump back and forth between. Okay, so there we go. We got our shapes on there. We got our blinks. And we're going to turn off our edit, and that's it for our blinks.